Good evening, chat. Hello. It's Thursday night, and some happenings have happened tonight. Whoo, buddy. We're definitely going to be getting into this. It's going to be very interesting. Very interesting tonight. We are going to, if this doesn't peg your whoa, buddy meter, I don't know what will, because holy cow, yeah, whoa, buddy. That's all I can say. We're going to get to it. Like I said, we got the former, like I said, we're going to get to it and you'll see it and we'll deal with it. Anyways, welcome to the show. Gooner says, well, nobody's going to prison over Epstein. Let's go. Yeah, but you know what? Like, I didn't expect this to happen. I didn't expect anything to happen to Prince Andrew. So, once again, it's stuff is happening. Which didn't expect to happen. Is the sound muffled? Hold on. What mic? No reason right microphones. And then that tower has the integrity of a Gazan office building. Yes. Very funny. Anyways, thank you guys all for being here. Yeah, Garrett, I got a little sidetracked there, taking care of something. I had to fix something with the camera, so I needed a couple more minutes. So we took care of that. Let's see here. Oh, you can't have America without Eric. That's funny. Yes, Andrew, the artist formerly known as Prince. Yes, we're going to be getting to that. We're getting to all that fun stuff. Clyde is the best co-host. He is right now, and he's spending time with 2.0. He's finally had a couple days of quiet. And it's funny because you wouldn't think a dog needs time to decompress, but they need some time to decompress. Dogs do. I think Clyde does, especially because he's had like either Bon, he's had Louie, or he's had the other two dogs, Abby and Tuck, the ones 2.0 showed you, who are huge. And he's been busy the last month, and it's just been nonstop. For him. And I'm hoping he's feeling better. Because all of a sudden, what's going to happen next week? Starting Saturday, 2.0 is gone again. 2.0 is gone for, like basically a whole week. And she's going on a cruise with her best friend, and Louie's coming back over for a whole week. So Clyde's gonna have a day. Oh, it's gonna be fun. Am I running a dong pound? No. But all right, guys, we are gonna get started here. We got, we're trying to everybody. Where's everybody at tonight? We are, wow. Who am I competing against tonight? River Cap says we will comfort Clyde. Yeah, well, I appreciate that because Clyde is Kyle be having a rough time. Maybe 2.0 has another family in a different state. Well, remember, she is a Fed, so she's probably going to see her Fed handlers, and she's going to report like, no, he's just a retard now. Sorry. Like he's not actually going to do anything dangerous. He's too retarded. Maybe this will be the end of it at this point. My bookshelf looks like it's about to collapse or something. What? Let me see here. Yeah, anyways, there we go. Sorry, somebody just messaged me a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So all the bookshelves do that. It's wood, many such cases. I mean, like, it's not like, I get the idea. It looks like it's collapsing. I think it's this one right here. That's just like an optical illusion because it is pretty, like, I checked, like, I've looked at it before because I've seen it on camera, and I was like, what the hell's going on? But no, it's maintaining itself. It's maintaining. It's a weird camera artifact. It's an artifact of the camera there. So yeah, don't worry, guys. It's all set. I promise. I promise. Ultimately, it will be fine. Where is... All right. I've been doing radio since I was 18, the Destroyer, yeah. Is that the Declaration of the Independence on your wall? We got a new job to pull, chat. No, that is not the Declaration of Independence. Those are actually 2.0 along with some people worked on putting some stuff together for me. These are actually, I think we went over them when they came in. These are posters that the Rhodesian police would use to warn soldiers to be safe dealing with the guerrillas during the Bush War, the communist guerrillas. So don't be predictable in your habits. Always carry your guns with you. Don't rush to get back to camp or back to base. Spend another night out in the bush so that you don't get ambushed coming in. It just covers all these different things here, and there was a series of posters, and these are originals from now Zimbabwe, but we used to call it Rhodesia, and they're pretty cool, and I thought they're pretty neat. So those were a very surprise present for me for my birthday. So yeah, they go up on the wall. We're working on getting the last one. We have to find the last one, but that is what's going on there. That's what's going on there with those. The camera also makes me look fat. Yeah, well. 2.0 might be sabotaging the 3D printer. Well, I am going to try it again tonight. I got some glue sticks, so before we start the local show, I'm going to fire it up and see what happens. And glue stick up the... yes. Garrett Pace says, we got Norwood Reaper vision. I don't know. My family's pretty good about not being reaped. Not being pre... Yeah, used to. We still do, so... Tech Guy South says, I adore documents from a foreign nation. Well, they're not documents, they're posters. I mean, most everything in this room is from a foreign nation. It's all from China. So, anyways, it's time to get going here. We got to get started, guys. First of all, just in good news, USA Hockey continues its ability to dab on the Canadian hockey program. Tonight, we did see U.S. women's hockey sings the national anthem after defeating Canada for the gold. That's right. Suck it dry, Canada. USA. Or if you're in Quebec, l'État Unis. That's right. SA. I didn't realize that we had black chicks are playing hockey now too. It's like, what a time to be alive. So, but yeah, Suffa Snow Mexicans. Interestingly enough, Switzerland was the bronze medal team this year. So, yeah, she black, but hey, that wins. Tech says that's a dude, and they're not all munters. Yes, I'm assuming you're referring to trannies or something because I don't know what a munter is. It's worse. They're snow French. Ooh. But anyways, good news tonight. Team USA got that dab right on the Canadians. Just pow. Suck it dry, Canada. And from here, though, let me see. Oh, I need to fix. Oh, I didn't get the goal set. Hold on, chat. All right, there we go. Sorry. I forgot to set the goal. The goal has now been set. If you guys wanted to do that, there you go. I know you guys like your goals, so now we got goals. All right. So first and foremost, I guess really the biggest thing, and it's finally somebody's been arrested in relationship to the Epstein files, whose name is not Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell. And that man is Prince Andrew, or actually the artist formerly known as Andrew. If you weren't aware, he is the former Prince Andrew. He is now known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. And if you're like, wait, who the hell is he and what the hell is that? Well, God, I feel like a dork because I know all the answers to this. But we'll use the chart, chat. We'll use the chart here. We'll use the chart. If you guys were not aware, we're going to do this for those of you in Rio Linda. The British have a royal family. And that royal family currently is led by King Charles, formerly known as Prince Charles. He used to be married to Princess Diana, who they totally didn't murder in that tunnel in Paris. They totally didn't murder her. The Prince of Wales, the second in line to the throne, is Prince William. And remember, there's Prince Harry, who married the whole Meghan Markle. But remember now, he's kind of out of the way. It is Prince William and his kids. So this is, he's first in line, second, third, fourth. Now, if they have any more kids, this will keep pushing the number out. But that means Harry is fifth. Harry's fifth in line, and that means these kids are 6 and 7 as this goes. So you can see there's a lot actually you have to go over to. That means Princess Anne is 8. She is King Charles's sister. And she has, at this point here, how does this work? Well, they are set differently. And then you have Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, and then you have also Edward, Prince Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh. That is, all of Queen Elizabeth's children. He used to be known as Prince Andrew, but now he's just Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Like after Lord Mountbatten, and then they're the House of Windsor. Notice, though, he doesn't have a title anymore because he got stripped of it. Why? Yeah, Harry noped out, but technically he's still in there. Wait, Andrew is not 8. Anne would be 8. Because Anne is still in line. Technically. Anyways, whatever. Who gives a shit? Fuck them all anyway. But he is no longer Prince. Okay, Chrissy Lou says Andrew's 8, Beatrice 9. Anne comes after her brother. She wasn't affected by the law change. Really? Huh. Yeah, that's the funny thing. They're Windsors, but they're all Germans at the end of the day. They were the initially before World War I. They were the house of they were a German house, and then they changed their name to Windsor to not piss off the British populace during the war. Well, anyways, he got arrested this morning, and this is the photo of him being this is the photo of him getting released from the police department this morning by British police as he got hauled back into a car and sent back to his house. It's actually it's a very weird and, slightly embarrassing for the Crown, but oh boy. They are going to and this is him also coming back home after everybody found out he was getting arrested. So, yes, Saxon, Coburg, and Gotha. Yes, before that, they're House of Hanover. The Fergie emails were bad enough, yes. So, anyway, he was arrested. What was he charged with? Well, he was charged with and arrested for misconduct in office. And you're like, well, wait, what the hell is that? So he was charged for misconduct in public office. And this goes back to the time where he was a prince, because that's a public office. And it's involving him and Jeffrey Epstein. And if you guys didn't know, and we'll go over what the charge is here, but just some basic information about it. Yes, he is yes, he was widely known. He was Elizabeth's favorite son. You know, they were very close. And he's also a war hero. He fought in the Falklands. He actually flew helicopters and got shot at quite a bit. You know, when they had to do this really weird thing because the Argentine Air Force was using anti-ship missiles. They strapped radio beacons to helicopters to trick the anti-ship missiles into thinking those were ships cruising around. And he almost he had to risk getting shot down by anti-ship missiles. But anyways, it's the first time in modern history a member of the British royal family has been arrested. The last time anybody from the royal family was arrested and charged for a crime was 1649 when Charles I was executed for treason and crimes against the populace, and that spurned the English as part of the English Civil War. If you guys have ever seen the movie Cromwell, or this is where Oliver Cromwell got his, rose to power. And yes, Charles waged a war against the English people, and they hanged him. Or I'm sorry, they cut his head off. They did not hang him. They cut his head off for multiple things, waging war against the English people, for sending troops into the House of Commons, among many, many other things. It was also finally where the idea of popular sovereignty and divine right clashed. And guess what? Popular sovereignty won. And they fucking had him executed. So that is Spallone says Charles not guilty. No, he was guilty. Say Fauci should have been charged. And then Gene, we're gonna get okay. It's not because he's a public office, because he was a trade envoy, which is a public office during that, and he emailed Epstein about UK finance matters. And we're gonna get to what he did here. But yes, thank you for correcting me on that. Peter says the House of Stuart must be restored. Well, technically, it did get restored because Charles II, after the interregnum, which is the period after Charles I got killed and deposed, Oliver Cromwell ran the United Kingdom as the High Protector. And then eventually he died, and Charles II came back, and the monarchy was reestablished. Cromwell was a Chad, Suffa papist. The days of the Roundheads, yes. Cromwell bought the bankers back. He's a traitor of the highest order. Well, yeah, there's that. Yes. So what happened here? Anyways, this is Prince Andrew nowadays. And yeah, there's a lot going on here with this, but it's an ongoing thing. Even though he's lost his royal titles, he's technically still in line for succession. A lot of people have to die ahead of him to make that happen, but he still faces that. But he's probably going to get stripped of it as this goes on. And, his brother, King Charles, said, well, I guess whatever, the law must take its course. And it's like, woof, that's rough. That's rough. That's rough. Now, there was basically, he got notice before there was going to be an arrest. Everything, was done. They didn't show up and storm his house with a SWAT team. It was done pretty quietly and formally, a matter of fact. The police did search his home, though, after he was done. Now, that is what's happened here. Now, what is misconduct in office ultimately about? Well, it's a crime in the UK. And it's interesting, though, when we're going to get to the Crown Prosecution Service, which is the prosecutors for it, how they describe it. It's it's interesting, though, that this hold on, why is this not working here? So ultimately, at some point previously, Andrew was a trade envoy and he ran into Jeffrey Epstein. And remember, Prince Andrew has a history of being with Jeffrey Epstein. There's pictures of him being on the Lolita Express. There's pictures of him associating with Jeffrey Epstein. One of the girls that has alleged a lot of different things, alleged Prince Andrew was there and sexually assaulted her, all this stuff. And that was years ago when this all came out. And yeah, it's been really tough. This still when Elizabeth was queen. And yeah, it's been really, really rough for Prince Andrew. So he gave financial documents over. And from there, he's not being accused of diddling kids in any official capacity. It's about giving him stuff. It's about giving him documents. And, they had a bunch of correspondence. And this has all been, the funny thing is when all these Epstein files were released, that stuff was in the Epstein files. So I don't know if the British knew about this and their hand got forced, or the British were like, oh, this is something we can use. We need to look at it. It's not really clear. I'm assuming it's probably the latter, not the former. I doubt that the British didn't know there were, things there. They have their own intelligence and surveillance. The diddling Duke. Oh. Now, they said that, now the police has said after that they've made an assessment, they opened up an investigation. It's like, but I'm assuming you knew. It's just now you can't do anything about it. So what is misconduct in office is actually facing? It's a very interesting, it's an interesting type of charge. And this is the Crown Prosecution Service. In the UK, this is the people in charge of prosecuting. They don't do it by... It's like the police. They have the Metropolitan Police. So, like, the police are everywhere. They're kind of governed on a larger scale. Prosecution Service is a similar way. It's not done, each shire or each, like, they don't have states. And, it's all kind of governed together. Like, talk about misconduct in public office. So what is it? Well, it's interesting. It's a common law offense. Okay. It can only be tried in an indictment. It carries a maximum sentence of life imprisonment. So at the end of the day, it can get really bad. It's pretty serious. It's very serious when you think about that. That's that. I mean, I don't know, is he going to get charged with life, or would he get sentenced to life imprisonment? I don't know. So it's all about willful abuse or neglect of the power being held. And, you have to go forward on how you deal this. Now, they talk about, here are the elements. It's a public officer acting as such, and when they willfully neglect to perform their duty or willfully misconduct themselves to such a degree to amount an abuse of the public's trust in the office holder without an excuse or justification. So that's where it starts. And Sonny Salas said, I think the hand was forced by the police, but who can even know? Yeah, it's true. It's true. We just don't know. We don't know what's happened. We don't know the full story yet. But this is what they're going for, that he had misconduct in office. That he had misconduct in office here. And so it's something to think about. Like, what was that? Why did he give that information to Jeffrey Epstein? It's because they, friends, and they diddle little kids. It's the cabal of cannibal, pedophile, interdimensional psychic vampire cannibals. Although he might not be an interdimensional psychic vampire. Certainly he's part of the globalist conspiracy. Now, they point out there's no simple definition of public officer, but Andrew definitely would count as one. He is a trade envoy of the British government. He was specially appointed. It wasn't just like he was a random guy in an office somewhere. He was pretty important. Now, they talk about all the different kinds of people who have previously been held to be public officers, police officers, people involved in the police departments, immigration officers, elected officials. civil servants, prison staff, army officers, bishops of the Church of England. A lot of different things, and certainly he would be considered one of those. So, when they talk about acting, and it's, you're acting while as a public officer, there has to be, the neglect and the breach have to all be part of it. They all have to be together. Acting in the discharge of the duties of the office. So, yeah, if you commit a crime while you're in office, that doesn't mean you're now guilty of misconduct in office. It's got to be with the stuff you're doing, because think about it, if you robbed a bank in the middle of it, it's not really misconduct of office. Excited Utter Tell us says, is the blogger going to cover the Corey Richards trial? Yeah, I think she starts next week, doesn't she? But hell, I've been here for 26 months. Thank you. I think it's coming up, but... And yes, no Pakistani grooming gangs were harmed during the arrest. Yes. And yes, Gene, that's what they're arguing here, is that yeah, basically he was giving him government information, things that were happening, financial issues, financial considerations. It certainly wasn't like he had access to, hey man, the government's coming to arrest you, you better run. Because Andrew wouldn't have had that, but he would have had access to financial information. Gene is correct. And then it's not some trade envoy and he's not been arrested. Yeah. So. Now, yeah, it's like the West Lexner thing too. Yes, the classified documents. It's not necessarily classified documents, Ag, but it's sensitive information. And why are you handing that out to a random American like that? More important, like why? Because he's your diddling buddy. Maybe he's your, why are you doing that? So, they point out here, what are other questions they have to consider? Is the conduct willful? Is it misconduct? Can it be both? Sure. Is it a breach of duty or is it misconduct? What's the connection between the breach of duty and misconduct and his role? How has the power invested been abused? And helping your diddling friend is kind of a big deal. Yes, and they got the country focused on Michael Jackson while they were doing this the whole time. Well, yeah, there's that. And were you acting as that, or were you acting Wills? There's a lot that's going to go on here. Is he dead in the water? It's not clear, but it doesn't look good for him. It doesn't look good for him. They go on to further discuss things here, what he has done or what he hasn't done here. And I actually read through this earlier. It's actually very interesting that they spell it out like this. It's pretty cool. So, but the fact they've gone this far, they've probably gone ahead and consulted with the prosecution services. They've probably gotten this stuff lined up to go forward and address it. It's not just the police going off half-cocked. I'm sure that there's been prior coordination. So, yeah, it's looking like it might be a little tough for Andrew, at least for a while. And, yeah, it's going to be tough for him. It's going to be tough for him. What is... Sonny, no, we are actually going to get into that next. And that's in relationship to Jeffrey Epstein, more things. Les Wexner, the president of L Brands, the guru behind Victoria's Secret and all kinds of other fashion companies, the mogul himself, a very close friend of Jeffrey Epstein, has come out lately and said, oh, well, he stole a bunch of money from me. And it's like, I don't feel bad for you. Well, he was in court, or he was in front of the House Oversight Committee, and people are, making a bigger deal out of us than what it really is, because I've been in this guy's shoes as an attorney before, and Les Wexner is testifying, and I'm probably going to do a quick video on this, but his attorney says, if you say any more than 5 words, I'm going to fucking kill you. And to be fair, chat, You know how many times an attorney's done that to their clients before? Where you're like, shut the fuck up. Stop. 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 Or your client's trying to, you know, they've written out a statement at a sentencing and they start to read it, but then they go off script and you stop them, you tell them, read the goddamn thing. And you like thump the paper, like read what you wrote. Read what we talked about. It's a real thing here. So I understand people are like, oh my gosh, the lawyer said that. It's like, this literally happens. This literally fucking happens all the time. So
it was just regularly done.
he says, I will fucking kill you if you answer a question with more than 5 words. Yes, because remember, guys, depositions are dangerous. And if you just get the chance at open-ended question, don't keep talking. Limit your answers to as short as possible. Limit your answers to be as short as possible. But like I said, I've told my clients this. Like, if you keep talking, I'm going to punch you in the fucking face. Or I'm going to throw you out the fucking window. I've been with clients before, we're talking to a detective. I'm like, if you keep fucking talking, you're going to get fucking indicted. You know, like, we're done. We need to stop. You need to stop talking about this. Like, shut up. So, this is a very, that's not uncommon. Happens all the time.
It was just regularly done.
Answer the question.
Okay. It was just regularly done.
Now, chat, I don't, Sonny, I don't know what his attorney's name is. Like, I don't know who he is. So, you know, people like, he's a lawyer, not a handler. It's like, no, that's literally what you do. You tell your client, shut the fuck up. You shut the fuck up. Remember, guys, shut the fuck up. But I don't know who his attorney's is, so I don't know what he does. I don't, like I said, I don't know who he is, so. I mean, we can watch this later. Well, maybe we'll watch this over the weekend, but I didn't know this had come out yet. So, let me see here. Does it say who he's got as his attorney? It doesn't say who his attorney is. Yeah, Shlomo Lawyerstein, I know, but that doesn't help me. He's saying, oh, you hope the doctor who punched the student gets arrested? Yeah, but it's not going to happen. Not going to happen. I've never beaten indictment. Thanks, Maddie. I don't know what the fuck that means. If Weinstein got his lawyers ordered and 2-letter agency trench coats with him at all times. So, hold on. So, if Weinstein got his lawyers ordered and 2-letter agency trench coats with him at all times, proven beyond a doubt, what about Sonny, I don't know what you're getting at. I don't know what you're getting at. Isn't Harvey Weinstein a bigger liability? Yeah, but Harvey Weinstein's probably not, you know, like, there's not a whole lot you can get out of him there. Michael Levy from Element and Xena and Levy. Okay. Yeah, that helps because once again, like, I just need to say this, chat, when people this all the time, like, oh, that attorney, it's like, I don't know who you're talking about. Like, we don't all know each other. We don't recognize, like, these dudes. So just saying, yeah, don't be afraid to include all the information there. So you guys are like, what about him? Let's see, what's the big deal here? So he's been 20 years as a partner. He does white collar stuff. He was involved with people at Enron, the collapse of FTX, the downfall of MF Global. He was involved in Spygate, the Toyota acceleration, the Benghazi guys who got murdered. I mean, like, he doesn't sound like super, you know, like he's a guy's got a lot of accomplishments, but he's not like, oh my God, this is the sketchiest bro to ever bro a bro as a lawyer. But we're gonna keep going here. We'll take a look at this. He served as a federal prosecutor and assistant U.S. attorney. Okay. Let's see here. I mean, you know, he's represented Coke Industries. I mean, like these, it's like Alex Spiro, the guy who represented Alec Baldwin. I mean, when you get to these big firms, you do all kinds of stuff. Like he represented Matt Walsh, the guy from the Patriots involved in Spygate. You know, you know, he represented somebody in KPMG's tax practice group. I mean, a lot of these guys start getting, you know, big things like this. It isn't, I mean, it's, yeah, this is, I'm just saying I appreciate you guys getting worried, but like, this isn't like abnormal when you get to this level of shit you're doing. I mean, that happens. It's like, this is like Harvey Specter type stuff. Like it happens. Like eventually you're going to start doing it. Yeah, you'd be glad to have him as an attorney at that point. So, not a single toe sucker on that list is an amateur. Yeah. So, I'm just saying it's like I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, he's done all this stuff. It's like, it's okay. It's not a big deal, guys. Attorneys represent a lot of people. It's just he's in a situation where it's people who are more prominent. So that's all. I mean, like like I said, it's not that's not that big a deal. Not that big a deal. So that's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say there. I appreciate the concern. But no, that's what you do as an attorney. You represent people and you tell them shut the fuck up. So now, can I explain why I was on the flight logs 36 times? They had really good sandwiches. So, your former attorney was the judge who married Marilyn Monroe, Arthur Miller. Yeah, there you go. Nice. Oh, you just looked up my early life. Anyway, yes, they have really good ham sandwiches on the Lolita Express. But I thought it was just interesting. People were freaking out about that, and it's like his lawyer told him to shut up. I'm like, that's what we do. That's what we do. Now moving on from there, guys, another person in power who has been charged and now arrested and now convicted is the former president of South Korea. Oh, why did that not? Oof, that's weird. And cut out. But former president of South Korea, Yoon Suk Yeol, has been sentenced to life in prison over his attempt to establish martial law and send the military out into the streets. If you guys remember this a couple years ago, this is when like South Korean special forces teams were like out in front of the parliament building. And then at some point, like they ended up accidentally leaving a set of, you know, their pano night vision, the four night vision prong thing laying on the ground. And anyways, he was charged and he has been arrested. He has been arrested at this point and he is now facing life in prison. And yeah, this is it lasted a couple hours. And I remember talking when Jeff, Legal Vices, and once again, gone too soon. And it's interesting enough because this was around the time, this was shortly before Jeff passed away. And we asked him about it, and he said, like, oh, this happens all the time in South Korea. These presidents arrest each other, and after you're out of office, you get arrested. He did say this guy kind of went overboard. He said this guy went overboard. But he said, he wasn't terribly concerned, and, things kind of worked themselves out. And, as it's talked about here, and we're not. I don't want you, buddy. So this was broadcast across the nation, unlike Johnny Somali, but it's interesting. They asked for the death penalty. It's like, what about Johnny Somali? Can he get the death penalty? But anyways, he is I like how they hold these boxes of, I think that's kind of interesting how they do that. They're like, instead of a microphone in your face, this is less intrusive. So they're Asians. They have little baby microphones instead of big American microphones. They have little Asian microphones. But they, his sentence was handed down. He got life in prison. He said he wasn't guilty of insurrection, but he did put martial law in place, and he had ordered the military to storm Parliament and arrest certain individuals. And he's going to appeal. And is it really going to change anything? Who knows? Probably not. But this, all the people out there going, hurrah! There were a bunch of other people who got charged, including some high-ranking officers and senior cops who were involved in participation, which included the defense minister, and they were seeking terms of 10 years to life. The defense minister got 30 years in prison. And, that's where they're at with this. Yes. Emotional cabbage. Yes. He'll be pardoned when one of his buddies gets back in office. Yeah, that's a thing. I guess that could happen there, but who really knows? It's really weird. And the problem is, if you guys didn't know this, South Korea's had a pretty rough history. I mean, it's been 40 years, since South Korea was a military dictatorship, and South Korea's had all kinds of problems. The president of South Korea was assassinated in their version of the White House by a team of, by basically a North Korean kill team. Like, all kinds of stuff had happened. South Korea's had a very tumultuous political things, especially since the 80s. And if you guys remember, Jeff had talked about that. There were all kinds of protests and things where people have been shot and whatnot has gone on. Yep, the Blue House. Yep. But South Korea, it's called the Blue House. And there was basically a North Korean death squad that went up there and, yes. Yes, the director of the Korean Central Intelligence Agency executed the last dictator. Yes. Yes, there's all kinds of stuff going on. And yeah, 1988 is when the last dictatorship ended. But that's the thing. It's been a thing for a long time. And, South Korea's had a very rough political history. Very, very rough political history here. So, I notice how they try to claim that the conservative supporters cheering his attempts to fight impeachment in an echo of the scenes of the United States. Yeah, because totally Trump called, Delta Force and JSOC out to go into the Capitol building on January 6th. Because otherwise, yes, they're totally the same thing. And, missing that stuff there, yes. So, but yes, anyways, it started in December 2024, where he showed up on TV, said he was suspending civilian government and censored the media. And he said the martial law order was said because anti-state forces had paralyzed the government through budget cuts and efforts to impeach multiple senior officials. And yes, ultimately it got all voted down. But yes, President Yoon, great again. So, anyways, after it happened, he got impeached 10 days later, and he was, to be arrested in January 2025. So, yeah. Oh, Rook says, in the Blue House raid, the Norks tried to kill him, but they failed. Okay, I forget. I just know that North Korea sent a death squad in to go assassinate the president. And literally, they got into Seoul and they attacked the president. Like, somehow that didn't start a fucking war, which is still something I don't understand. How did that not start a war when North Korea basically comes in and tries to kill the president? Like, it is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, but yes. It's amazing how South Korea seems to be flourishing on a knife's edge. It's a lot more stable than it used to be, but yes, South Korea was a very unstable nation for a very long time. The U.S. military presence there was kind of a stabilizing force, but yes, South Korea, it's been really rough. It's been very, 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 very rough there. So, yes. Hella says, yes, but Gangnam style. Yes. There's still a war, yes, but the body politic of South Korea has still been very tumultuous. Still very tumultuous. And far from stable. Far, far from stable. So it's interesting what's going to happen there. Is he going to go away? Tell him about the hold on here. What's somebody asking me to do? James Reed says you only missed Andrew got arrested. No, I said he got arrested because of the whole trade envoy thing and let him see the documents. Yeah, no, I mentioned it. Oh, you want to talk about the axe incident on the border? Yeah, that's a pretty gruesome thing there. Well, I mean, yes, that how that wasn't a war issue either, I don't know. So I don't know. Anyways, we gotta get some super chats here to get done. Maddie B says, member for 19 months. Kay is a weirdo, and Erica is still Wonder Bread. Well, thank you, Maddie. I'm sure they appreciate that. Peter Key says, please say Edinburgh again. Been a long day, Peter, for $5 Australian dollar dues. New Zealand dollar dues. BobTube for $5. An Australian says, thoughts on Nick spending hours picking apart Kurt's case only for Kurt to win all the motions, Felted. I don't know. I mean, it's just, it's life comes at you like that, and just this one of those times you let the results speak for themselves. You let the results speak for themselves. I'm sure he's going to cover it going forward. I'm totally sure he's going to cover it going forward. Shredder S07 says, Lord Mountbatten rip. Thanks, IRA. If you guys didn't know, Lord Mountbatten, yes, that's the same Lord Mountbatten from World War II fame with a lot of special operations things and running the SOE. Yes, he was killed and assassinated by IRA rebels in a bombing on his boat off of in Ireland. So, yes. Yes. And the IRA took responsibility for it. Jeez, I just dropped everything there. Keep as bankers love financing civil wars. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Kathy, your realtor in Jersey. Guys, remember, if you guys are buying, selling, leasing, whatever it is you want to do with land in New Jersey, Kathy's your realtor. Kathy's your person to go to. Kathy, hope you're doing well. Says, what do you think about what's going on in Iran? Yeah, we're probably going to bomb Iran pretty soon here. The Gerald R. Ford has been told to make like all speed to the Persian Gulf. So, yeah, I kind of get the feeling we're doing that. More and more aircraft have been moved into position out of Europe. So, this weekend might be, I think it might be this weekend. Although I think the Ford's still a ways away. It might be next weekend. But yeah, stuff's about to happen. Stuff's about to happen there. Stuff is about to happen. Chugi Show says for $2 late and dodging tornado warnings. Really? Are there tornado warnings in Ohio? Oh yeah, there are. Wow, down in southern Ohio there are tornadoes. Jeez, it's that's interesting. That is interesting. It's been a warm day here. It's been like almost 50 all day long. So just in time for it to snow again this weekend. And then Spudgun's been a member for 14 months. He says people from Edinburgh call it Embra. Yes. I'm sure that's how Count Dankula, pronounces it as well. I'm sure he pronounced it actually like blah, 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 because they're Scottish and they don't really use real English. Yes, Mark Zuckerberg is currently on trial while he's testifying because there's like a lawsuit going forward in LA about like the nature of how addictive social media is. And he testified. I'm trying to see if there's any of that was televised because I think that'd be hilarious to listen to, because Mark Zuckerberg talks like a robot. And then amateur iconoclast for $5 is for the gold. Well, thank you for the gold. All right, guys, let's keep moving. Here. Let's see. We need to get to. Did 2.0 poker head in here? Yet. No. Anti-state forces. Yes, I love that idea. I want Trump to use that next. Stacy says they can't tell you how fast the Ford can really move. Yeah, but it's not like it's going 100 miles an hour. Like, that's true. That's true. So, after the Tim Pool show this time, well, thank you, Anti-Rights GPT. Let's see here. You guys say Scott speak better English than the Limeys. I don't know about that. Nero says Dankula's too busy spurging about Venezuelan forever wars because of a 30-minute operation. Well, once again, Nero, to be fair, the U.S. government has not been very good about doing limited things over the past 30 years. Like, let's be real. Going back, the two big magnum opuses of the neocon movement were forever wars, and there's still like ongoing forever wars that have not been resolved and are further degrading. So, I don't really blame people for being nervous. That's why I'm nervous about this whole Iran thing. I was nervous about the Iranian strike. Was that going to lead to, KBR and DynCorp getting contracts signed to go do stuff in Tehran? Yeah, I have a lot of concerns. I don't trust it. I'm very concerned about this unless it's going to be limited in nature. So, yeah, I have those concerns too. I totally have those concerns. So I'm going to say it's 88 here in Florida. Jeez. Sean declared World War III last Iran strike. I did not say it was World War III. I said it could be. Could it be the opening to it? Sure. It's just I don't have faith that the U.S. government can be limited in what it does because it has a tendency to go full retard and, try to do nation building. And I don't like it because they do dumb shit. I totally... I just, I don't trust them. Like, let's be real. Like, you can if you want to, but I'm not trusting them not to fuck that up. Trusting them not to fuck that up. Iran has ruined a generation. They've ruined a lot of generations. They can't stop comparing shit to it that have nothing in common. Yeah. Eric says, I lived in Scotland for 2 years. The English speak rubbish. Well, they all speak goofy because they all say ba'awa. Are they all sped? Yes, they're all speds. All right, guys. Now, moving on from there, we got caught up on things. Actually, real quick, we're going to do our sponsors tonight. We'll get our sponsors out of the way. I don't mean that like they're a burden. But first of all, chat, we have the Dragon's Treasure. Use code CRIMINAL. Don't use code COPE. Who wants to proudly type in the word COPE? I'm coping. No, you would never want to do that. So don't cope like the sad Australian man in Japan. Be bold in what you do. Code CRIMINAL, 10% off your coffees, teas, and soaps at thedragonstreasure.com, a haven for tea and anime lovers. Guys, also, promo code POTCRIM gets you 10% off at MAF Corporation. That's right, MAF-arms.com, chat. February's, guys, I didn't realize this till I was in court today. We had to schedule some things. We had scheduled stuff previously in the case, but some things had come up and we have to reset deadlines and reset hearings. And we're sitting there in court and I'm going through my phone and I'm like, fuck, we're like, March is around the corner and it's like setting things in April's only a month away. It's wind chime season, folks. It's wind chime season. Like, you guys got to get ready. You guys got to get ready. Like, I understand you guys don't think you have to, but you do. You got to get ready. I don't know what to tell you, chat. I don't know what to tell you. It's time. It is time. It is time. And hold on, chat. I need to grab something here. And grab this because it's not. Why is this not working? Hold on. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. This is, yeah, I guess we're into it. Why is this not working? And then chat, last but not least, is Stoney's Bar at 158 East Broadway Street in Rockville, Minnesota, chat. Stoney's is your place to go. Guys, it's almost time for the season here. It's getting warm out, so what does that mean? It's time for you to get that bike ready, get it cleaned up, and get ready to go crank your hog at Stoney's. They got the new patio. Well, it's not really new anymore, but it's still out there. It's getting time, chat. It's getting time to go to Stoney's and do your thing. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. What are you doing with your life? What are you doing with your life that you're not going to want to go do that? It's the place to go. It's $2.50 cans every Thursday. Like I said, I don't know what more I could do to tell you to want to go, to get you to want to go. It's just, like I said, I don't know. I don't know what I can do anymore. I've tried to get you to want to go. No, you cannot use code COPE at Stoney's. We don't cope at Stoney's. It's, oh, you're cranking your hog right now? I guess that's good. But no, we don't cope at Stoney's. We don't cope at Stoney's. We are proud of what we do at Stoney's. And why is this not? Hold on, chat. Why is this? Facebook, you suck. Well, Facebook sucks, and that sucks. Why, Facebook? Why do you suck? Just let me look at the goddamn page, bro. Just let me look at the page. But it won't let me do it, and it's saying that the Facebook of the dead account I had is not working. So, oh well. That sucks. But anyways, chat, Stoney's is doing all kinds of stuff. They've always got music. They've always got things going on. It's the premier place to go, and you can find them. Go see them. It's getting ready. They're going to be doing bike nights again this year. Just get ready to have fun with them. Yes, you can be the veteran naked twister patio. That's right. The Aaron M. Holt Memorial Naked Twister pitch. That's right, chat. That's I talked to Cheeto about that. They should rename it the M. Holt Naked Twister Facility. It's going to be a place for you to train and work on your skills. Payback for talking shit about Zuckerman. Yeah. I would go to Stoney's if it wasn't 900 miles away. Well, that's understandable. That's understandable, chat. But get down there if you can And it's Stoney's, serving Minnesota as a premier biker bar for 30 years running. And yes, Aaron's tip touching now. Yes, it's tip touching center. That's right. For Aaron, the tip drill has a whole new meaning. And it's not football related. The M. Holt Tip Center. Tech Guy South is right. Stoney's. Why spend time with your family when you can spend it with your drinking buddies instead? Yes. That is so very true. So very true. Go to the bar. Now, this is moving on here, guys. I saw this, and there's not a lot of information about it right now that I could find, but this is another example of don't do retarded shit overseas. Don't do retarded shit overseas, especially in Russia. Don't do dumb shit in Russia. Okay? Please don't do it. Do not do it. So, an American guy got sentenced to 4 years in prison for trying to take Kalashnikov rifle stocks home with him. Guys, if you know what Kalashnikov means, that means an AK series rifle, an AK-47, AK-74. Could be one of the AK-100 series, possibly an AK-12, AK-15. And real quick, if you guys know what we're talking about these bad boys right here. The AK, well, these are AK-74s. These are AK-74s. They're the, little bit of them. You call them modern, but they're bad to call it that. This is another picture of an AK-74. So what did he do here? So he got sentenced to 4 years in jail because he was trying to fly out of an airport with rifle stocks in his suitcase. And it said the unnamed citizen who did not, who collects Kalashnikov weapons, so AK patterned rifles and whatnot, did not make a customs declaration after purchasing the two stocks, and he checked the suitcase. So what did he do? Well, he was found guilty of weapons smuggling under Russian law. Now, is he probably guilty of Russian smuggling? Who really knows? Because who knows if this really happened? Who knows how this all set up? Because you can't trust the Russian government. Bigger issue, though, is in a lot of countries, having gun parts is not like here in America, where I can just have a rifle stock sitting there. I can order it in the mail. Many countries, even if you can do that, are very restrictive on whether or not foreign citizens, whether you're a tourist, you're an alien, whatever your situation is, you're not allowed to handle guns or gun parts. Now, he could all be entirely legal, and he could just be a political pawn. We don't really know the full saga yet, but the idea that I'm going to go to Russia and fuck around in Russia, and then, nothing's going to happen to me. No, do not do that. Do not do that. Maddie says stocks. Yeah, I mean, and that's the weird thing. You could find actual Russian and foreign military equipment. So like stocks, grips, furniture on the front end of AK pattern rifles, like these things right here. You can find the front end furniture, and that's called furniture. You can even find authentic slings, going through surplus stores or whatever. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense why this guy did it. It's completely ridiculous. They're also claiming the guy had partially admitted guilt. Who really knows if he did or not? You can't trust that, but why go there? And that's the thing. Don't go to Russia for any reason due to terrorism, unrest, wrongful detention, and other risks. Yeah, going to Russia is a bad idea. Going to Russia is a bad idea, guys. There's no upside. They can arrest you. They'll arrest you for whatever reason. And what's going to happen? Well, even to Trump, they're going to be like, please don't arrest him. Well, and even though you're entitled to consular response and visiting with consular officials, they have limited ability to assist in the case. There's no guarantee the Russians will grant consular access, and U.S. citizens may serve their entire prison sentence without release. There's no guarantee of release. There's no guarantee the U.S. is going to be able to work it out. You can't risk it. It's just like Brittany Griner showing up with like vape pens. Like, don't do this stuff. If you're like, I would not go to Russia. Like, I'd stay away from Russia. That also means I'd stay away from countries that Russia has influence over. So, like many of the Central Asian republics, like Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, probably even Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, stay away from those places. Kyrgyzstan, like, you got to be careful. You got to be careful when you go to these places, but this guy did it. They often question and threaten U.S. citizens without reason. If you have seen that where people have done some of these travel blogs where they go to Europe, they go to Russia. Bald and Bankrupt was a guy who was going all over Russia and got kicked out, as another example. They've denied fair treatment and convicted people without evidence. And they've opened questionable investigations on U.S. citizens for the religious activities. And you know what? They can do whatever the fuck they want because it's their country. It's their house, their rules. And those rules are, we get to make them up as we go. So don't do this. Don't be an idiot. Don't be a goober like this. Like, whatever this guy did was completely fucking stupid. Just stealing parts off of a gun. Why? Like, how I want a rifle stock from Russia. It's like, pay $100 extra and you could get one here in America. It might cost you $200. For some reason, why did you do it? Why did you do it? I don't know. Commando Kodiak says AEK 971 and A545 are the guns that you want to get out of Russia and Ukraine. Well, an AEK 971, those things are fucking cool looking. I like how those things look. And they have a really cool front sight as well. Yes, if you pooping them out, yeah. Manny says, at what point is it a stock? I'm assuming like he had literally it was unscrewed out of the trunnion, so he literally just had a piece of wood. Seller says, we're still allowed to visit Russia. Yeah, there's no prohibition on it. Russia does not deny access to American citizens. We don't deny Russians access. If you are a high level Russian, though, we might have sanctions against you. But like, if you're a regular Russian citizen, you can enter the United States. That would be really tough because you'd have to be able to leave Russia, and you need their permission just to like travel. But overall, yeah, we can go there. It's once again it's like the Soviet Union. American citizens could go to the Soviet Union during the Cold War. It's just like you could get arrested and disappeared. And why would you do it? And it's like, I would be very careful about that going forward. So, yeah, don't go to Russia, guys. There's just no upside to it. There is no upside to it. Yeah, they have internal passports. Yeah, Bernie Sanders went there. Ted Kennedy went there. Yes. Yeah, government officials, Democrats have gone to Russia because they're commies. And yeah, they're okay because they're being invited as part of propaganda victory for the Russian government. But otherwise, like, if it's just you, remember, chat, Bernie Sanders is Bernie Sanders. He's not going to disappear, but you're a little guy. They'll throw you in the gulag. They'll throw you in the gulag somewhere. You'll become prisoner 724. And unlike Captain Price, they're not coming to get you. They're not sending in a commando team. You're just going to have to die in a Russian prison while you get raped to death. So, no, don't go to Russia. It's never going to end well. Don't go to Belarus either. Belarus would be bad too for that. Belarus would be bad for that as well. Belarus would be bad for that. What about my online Russian girlfriend? What about your online Russian girlfriend? Just send her your classified documents on War Thunder. That's all you have to do if you have an online Russian girlfriend. Luke says Putin was offering asylum to Westerners from Wokest at one point. I mean, he says that, but what happens when you go there and then after 6 months they say, hi, we're actually, hey, congratulations, comrade. You're now joining the Russian army and you're going to Ukraine. Sorry, you can't leave. Like, no, I wouldn't take them up on that. I would not take them up on that. I just want some of Belarus's phosphorus and fertilizer. Yeah, well, I would stay away from that too. Belarus is no better. Belarus is no better. Killing Spree says, Task Force 141 ain't coming to save Captain Price. Well, they're not coming to save you. Marlene says, I was super impressed with the Russian people in 1998. Very resourceful, not at all open. Will not answer personal questions or give directions on the street. Yeah, well, it's because you never talk to people because everybody was an informant. So, Russian girls, you're going to risk it. Yeah. Would Jimmy John's come to rescue me? Yes, they can't afford to lose it. Seriously, I have a hot Russian girl I want to meet up with. Don't do that. Don't do that. Go to Estonia if you want thin, less bitchy Russian-looking girls. Yeah. There you go. You can get them in like Latvia and Lithuania as well. Other than Oswald, defectors in the Cold War got no better treatment than the average Russian. Some did, like Kim Philby and Guy Burgess. Some of the British spies out of the Cambridge ring had okay lives. But yeah, for the most part, it's like the guys who defected to North Korea in the early 60s. They lived shitty lives, the U.S. soldiers. There were a couple of them. There were like 5 of them who did it. They lived really shitty lives. So there's no benefit. There's no benefit to it. Clyde is already buying his ticket at St. Petersburg. And actually, chat, if you guys heard it, that was Clyde who just howled and barked. He did a barrr. That was a Clyde. That was a Clyde. Does DoorDash work across the borders? Yeah. You got to play the game to score. Yeah, well, I don't want that. JLR says, I don't like Russian food. The Russian, like I said, in the Russian MREs, the pate is just mwah. They do pate really good. And also, caviar, like really good caviar, is really good out of Russia. So, real Russian caviar is good. Philip Kogan says James Dresnock loved his time in the DPRK. Yeah, I mean, he claims he did, but he was also stuck there. He was one of the guys who defected. All right, chat. Moving on from there. We have what is okay. This is this is an update on some things here. This is a case of, and we talked about this before, where in Ohio there was a Supreme Court ruling about boneless wings, and the guy found the bone in the boneless wing, and they said, well, you have a reason to expect bones of boneless wings. Well, there's another battle that's going on with boneless wings, and it's whether it's a boneless wing or it's a saucy chicken nugget. And there's actually a lawsuit over this. There was an actual lawsuit over this, not filed by me, but it was filed by a guy in Chicago, and he sued Buffalo Wild Wings. He sued Buffalo Wild Wings over the boneless wings. And yes, literally, this was the federal court resources were wasted over a lawsuit involving fucking boneless wings. Yes, chat. This is what the judiciary has been turned into now. It's what they've been turned into now. So, and it's what's in a name. And normally, guys, normally, like when we've seen stuff where some of these judges have like had George Orwell quotes and stuff like that, you're like, okay, don't be political and preachy. There are times where courts will get cheeky in their writings, and this is one of them. This is one of them here. Yes, it's Tendy litigation. It's Tendy's litigation, chat. That's right. I need to open up the Tendy litigation division of the Martin Law Office, so where we solely just file chicken tendy related lawsuits. And I do like this. If we call it a wing by any other name, would it still smell as sweet? And notice he says, obviously, he's citing Romeo and Juliet. The plaintiff says no. The defendant, B-Dubs, sells a product that calls boneless wings, which are essentially chicken nuggets, pieces of chicken breast meat, deep fried and tossed in whatever sauce or dry seasoning. The plaintiff apparently found this confusing. He claims he thought boneless wings were real chicken wings with the bones removed. B-Dub says the product should be called something different, like chicken poppers. He sued B-Dubs over this confusion, but his complaint has no meat on its bones. And what does he say? Well, the court says he doesn't plausibly allege. And remember, a motion to dismiss standard, and how does this work? Well, you have to state plausible facts and state a plausible claim for relief. So B-Dubs filed a motion to dismiss because they failed to state a claim. And he doesn't allege that these are consumers are deceived by boneless wings. So he's failed to state a plausible claim for relief. He says he bought the wings from B-Dubs in January 2023. He expected to receive wings that were deboned. It's unclear what exactly he expected those wing fillets to look like or how he thought they'd be made, and the complaint does not allege boneless wings actually resemble traditional chicken wings, whether the drumettes, the flats, or both. It's also unclear how he learned the wings aren't really made for wing meat. In any event, after visiting a B-Dubs in Illinois, he sued, claiming he was deceived. He brought the suit under the Illinois Consumer Fraud Act. A breach express of warranty, chat, and that's a breach of express warranty is whatever you say it is. An express warranty is that, you can infer from this like what it is you're getting, and it's not there. He says the term boneless wings is fraudulent. He says it fools customers on purpose. He says calling the products boneless wings because breast meat is cheaper than wing meat. Had he known what he was really eating, he claims he would have paid less for the product or refused to buy it at all. Well, it's not like you can negotiate with them, so you're not just going to buy it. He's not the only one for whom B-Dubs wings have failed to meet expectations. He seeks to bring a nationwide class action. I could be in the jury box. That could have been me. Your Honor, look at me. How many wings do you think I could eat? Who are duped into buying boneless wings thinking they're actually deboned chicken wings. And B-Dub seeks to dismiss the claim. And they argue that Inspire Brands, which, he doesn't identify in which he makes no allegations, should be dismissed as a defendant. You can see he's suing more than one, he's suing more than one entity here, but he didn't do anything where they alleged anything. Kind of like Russell Greer. If you don't allege a party's done something wrong, yeah. I know I was scammed, chat. So they're claiming he doesn't have standing to bring claims for damages, and he hasn't stated a claim under any of his legal theories. So remember, on a motion to dismiss, you have to accept the pleaded facts as true and draw reasonable inferences in the plaintiff's favor. Legal conclusions, however, are not. And once again, that's Ashcroft v. Iqbal. There's Twombly. Remember, Twombly and Iqbal are the two major civil procedure cases that are out there. They say, viewed in this light, the complaint must state a facially plausible claim of relief to overcome the motion to dismiss. And you talk about standing. Well, first of all, do you have subject matter jurisdiction to hear the case? So he must have a real stake in the outcome of the case for the court to have jurisdiction. B-Dubs claims that with the injury in fact, he did not suffer a concrete and particularized injury. They say B-Dubs argues that he would have to purchase a product that was actually worth less than what he paid for, which he failed to do. Although, depending on if you've been to B-Dubs, you're like, people really, Sorry, chat. I'm getting the sniffles. It's sniffling season. But yes, how much did you really pay and how much did you go for? He replies he would have paid less for the product or not bought it at all. It is sufficient injury to show at the pleading stage. Remember, it's not going to get him to trial, but he has to survive the pleading stage. He also claims that he's utilizing the benefit of the bargain theory. He received less than what he bargained for. You know, but that's that's all he has to show. Like, I don't think I got my bargain. Meme says BWW no, BBWs yes. Also, chat, Meme Copia, friend of the show. Remember, chat, don't cope when you go to Dragon's Treasure. Use code criminal, not code cope. Nobody should ever want to cope voluntarily. And I've heard he's gonna get it. He's changed it to meme. But you know what, chat? That just shows we bullied him, chat. We bullied him. That's right. Now, they obviously, B-Dubs is claiming that he would have to show the wings value or less than their cost, but that's not true. You don't have to do that. The actual damages are distinct from injury in fact, and in this claim, the idea is, I just didn't get what I bargained for. I thought it was wrong. They say he was adequately alleged injury in fact by saying he would have paid less or not bought it because it was misleadingly labeled. Yeah, Scooper's BTFO'd. Scooper's got BTFO'd. Now, what do you the motion for judicial notice? So in conjunction with the motion to dismiss, they asked that the court consider the following. Guys, judicial notice is the court can take notice of facts that are not in contention. It's something the court could take notice of. So judicial notice would be like today is February 19th. And you could say, Your Honor, we'd ask you to take judicial notice that it's indisputable fact that February 19th of 2026 is a Thursday. And the court would go, so noted. Because that's indisputable. Like, we don't have to bring in people. That there's a theory of gravity. I don't have to bring in I don't have to bring in Bill Nye to teach people about the theory of gravity. The court could take so note there's a theory of gravity. It can apply to certain facts. And it's just meant to streamline the process here. Now, what do they do here? So they asked the court, there were 2 news articles quoted in the complaint, and the menu pictured in the complaint, and 15 online recipes for making wings. And it says the first article is entitled Boneless Chicken Wings. It's not a lie if you believe it, which was published in The Counter. I don't know what that is. The second is an article in the New York Times entitled Boneless Wings, the Cheaper Bite. It says typically to consider documents outside a complaint, the court would need to convert the motion to dismiss into one for summary judgment. But they point out here, and that's true, because when it comes to a complaint and you're trying to do a motion to dismiss, you're limited to the 4 edges, the 4 corners of the documents. If you bring in more stuff and you're arguing other facts and documents that exist, it now becomes summary judgment because you're now offering evidence. Now, Buffalo Wild is saying this is different. It's not offering evidence. We're doing judicial notice. And it says court can take judicial notice of documents under Federal Rule of Evidence 201. And it says the court can consider the documents quoted under the incorporation by reference. And that's true. If you reference documents in your complaint, yeah, why can't we take notice of them? You're the one who brought them up. Why, who brought it up? Who brought it up, Sean? The quote, as we're familiar with. And hold on, Jeff. And popping his head here real quick. Uncivil Law, Kurt, how you doing? Take notice of these nuts. That's right. That's right, guys. Remember, Kurt, out there doing the practicing litigation. There's people out there who talk about how bad the government is. And then there's people like Kurt who, talk about how bad the government is and then go out and actually fight the government on behalf of people and represent his clients and get fucking dubs. So just something to think about out there, chat. Just something to think about out there. Something to think about. Just something to think about. Unlike other people. Now, it says the court may notice a fact that is not a reasonable dispute because it's accurately and readily determined from sources whose accuracy cannot be questioned. Now, they suggest that online recipes establish that reasonable consumers recognize boneless wings are not boned wings, but I don't think that counts. Online recipes, devoid of information about their reach or readership, do not establish what the reasonable consumer knows. And let's say it was like a Betty Crocker cookbook from like 50 years ago. Maybe you could. But as of right now, no. And they say because the claim, they're not going to do online recipes. And it says the court will not consider the recipes in assessing the viability of the claims. As to the news articles, there's no need to assess because notice is appropriate. Because the incorporation by reference doctrine permits the court to consider them as they're referred to in the complaint and are central to his claim. So the court's like, I don't even need to worry about that. I can consider them anyway. And it says the two articles at issue are quoted extensively to buttress the plaintiff's claims, which is important. So as such, you could treat them as part of the complaint. Yeah. The bones trigger your autism. It makes your autism go brr. Yes. I do not have COVID from Panda Express chicken. I've never been to Panda Express. Unlike DSP, I have some respect for myself. And it says, so too is the B-Dubs menu. And the court has to consider the entire B-Dubs menu because he included one page of it in the complaint. But the only relevant page is the one in the complaint. So there's nothing outside the complaint the court would reference. The court may consider its content, meaning the guy included a picture of the menu. I could include that picture in my determinations. I own a panda. Are you considering Clyde a panda? I mean, he's fat. He could eat like a panda bear. So the failure to state a claim, chat. So a fraud claim, consumer fraud, it's an unfair, deceptive trade practice. The intent that the plaintiffs rely on the deceptive or unfair practice. And 3, the unfair, deceptive practice occurred during a course of conduct involving trade or commerce. And B-Dub says he hasn't plausibly pled this out. Now, B-Dub says a reasonable consumer would not be misled by the term boneless wings because context makes clear the nuggets cannot be made of wing meat. That would be really weird, but I mean, that would be kind of interesting to make nuggets straight out of wing meat. Now, Halim argues this is not true because it's false because the products are not wings. Now, the judge is like, that's debatable. B-Dub says wing refers to the style of cooking, not the chicken's body part. Words can have multiple meanings. Indeed, the term buffalo wing refers to the type of sauce on the wing rather than indicating it's made of buffalo meat. That's true. They could say that many false statements are not deceptive. So a diamond ad calling its products the most fabulous jewels in the world. That's a diamond ad. Parenthesis. While literally false, the statement is not misleading because no one is deceived. So too here. Even if the court would decide boneless wings is literally false, it is not deceptive, as discussed below. Yes, a judge had to waste time writing this. Well, his staff had to waste time writing this. Final Revolution says only in America is this an issue. I know, that's how awesome we are. We don't America doesn't have free health care. But we can bomb countries around the world in a matter of hours, and we can file lawsuits about pieces of fucking chicken that get fried up in canola oil. So, yes. Marlene says Buffalo, New York, for which the rings are named for, is the deceptive name, which should be Bison, New York. Well, that's true as well. Yes, the Bison Bills. Yeah, do you mean that? Does that mean the Rocky Mountain oysters really aren't oysters? That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. Now, he says the restaurant is called Buffalo Wild Wings. And boneless wings are presented as an alternative to traditional wings, meaning that reasonable consumers would think boneless wings are made from wing meat. Did anybody really think that? Has anybody really thought that? Yes. Next, I'll tell you that long pork isn't actually made out of pork. Yes. It's people. But he says the arguments apply equally to cauliflower wings, as B-Dubs points out. Cauliflower wings are sold at B-Dubs under the wing section and are presented as an alternative. If he's right, reasonable consumers would think that cauliflower wings are made in part from wing meat. And he's like, they don't, though. He even concedes a point saying that cauliflower wings are clearly a fanciful name because cauliflowers don't have wings. The court agrees. And they say boneless wings have a fanciful name because chickens do have wings, and those wings have bones. And oh my God, guys, we talked about this case last year. As the Ohio Supreme Court recently put it, a diner reading boneless wings on a menu would no more believe the restaurant was warranting the absence of bones in the items than believe the items were made from chicken wings. That's actually not true because we would assume there's no bones in it. But remember, that's the one where the guy ate it and there were bones in it and he sued. And they said you have to expect there's bones in boneless wings, possibly. And it's like, fuck that. Fuck that. Yes, and bees are fish. Correct. But yes, we covered this. Actually, it's 2 years ago, chat. Wow, time flies. But we covered it. A reasonable consumer would not think B-Dubs boneless wings are truly deboned chicken wings reconstituted into some sort of Cronenberg Frankenwing. And a few additional facts support the conclusion a reasonable consumer would not think the bones were made from wing meat. To start, the menu reflects that B-Dubs sells boneless wings at a cheaper price than traditional wings, which is true. But even then, their shit's all very heavily expensive. B-Dubs argues this price differential tells customers the wings are not, in fact, deboned. Common sense tells consumers a product made out of the same ingredients but requiring more time and work would cost more, but they do not. Moreover, boneless wings are not new. Even putting aside news articles that boneless wings have been around since before the turn of the century, the complaint alleges B-Dubs has sold them since 2003. He says boneless wings are not a niche product for which a consumer would need to do extensive research. Boneless wings are a common term that's existed for over 2 decades. I'm pretty sure even longer than that. He argues these factors are the consumers aren't deceived. There could be other reasons for the lower price. And there's no proof consumers are widely aware of how the boneless wings are made. I mean, they're chicken nuggets. It's true that neither is dispositive, and alone they wouldn't be sufficient for B-Dubs to prevail. But they do support the common sense conclusion that customers are not deceived. And it says because the court finds as a matter of law the reading of boneless wings is unreasonable, he's failed to make a supporting deceptive act element of his claims. The unjust enrichment claims, the express warranty and common law fraud, fail for the same reason. In Illinois, a plaintiff seeking recovery under unjust enrichment must allege the defendant has unjustly retained a benefit to the plaintiff's detriment, and the plaintiff's retention of the benefit violates the fundamental principles of justice, equity, and good conscience. I need to save that check because that's actually something I could use in the future. So hold on here, guys. Why is this? Just let me. There we go. I just need to save that. I can use that argument in another case. And it says he failed to state a claim. And they say fraud can go nowhere without a plausible allegation of deceptive statements. You know, the express warranty claims, you know, a consumer would not be misled for purposes as well as the warranty claims. Despite his best efforts, he did not drum up factual allegations to state a claim. Though he has standing to bring the claim because he plausibly alleged injury, he does not plausibly allege reasonable consumers are fooled. He asked the court to allow no amended complaint should it agree with B-dubs and grant the motion. And it says court rules should freely give leave when justice so requires. And if you could conceivably allege facts to state a claim, a court should grant leave to amend. But where here, amendment would be futile and no such leave will be granted. Accordingly, it's difficult to imagine he could provide additional facts about his experience that would demonstrate B-dubs is committing a deceptive act by calling it Snuggus boneless wings. But the court will give him leave to try. Any amended complaint is due by March 20th. And if he doesn't chat, we'll cover it and read it. I think that'll be fun. We'll take a look at that if that does get filed. And Adam says, wait, going postal doesn't mean delivering mail? No. No. You guys were chicken thighs or something? Okay. Okay, that's funny. You guys are being ridiculous. Being redonkutastic. We're going to need PPP to weigh in here. Yes. We'll have to summon the table of fat men. The International Union of Extremely Large Men. Or how is it Kimbo used to put it? God, speaking of that, where's Kimbo been lately? I don't know if you guys know, but I was wondering where Kimbo's been. Hope he's all right. Hope he's all right. You want some chicken of the sea? Do you mean you want the real chicken of the sea, or do you want the chicken of the sea where dolphin gets chopped up in it? Should be a disclaimer or asterisk after boneless wings. Yeah. Kimbo nice. I know Kimbo Slice died, but you want the ones with dolphin, yeah. You want the ones with dolphin. I want extra dolphin. Oh, chat. Oh, chat. That's so funny. Keopathic says, I don't think I'd sue over this, but I understand his concern about boneless wings. Stop using dumb fucking names. Like, while we're talking about being hottest about things, there we go. And VTubing enthusiast says the guy who filed this lawsuit probably eats estrogen-filled Beyond Meat. Yeah, there's a lot of money in this stuff, guys. There's a lot of money in this stuff. There's a lot of money in these types of lawsuits. The 51 says he was called Kimbo Slice. He was called Kimbo Nice. So I'm home. Yeah, haven't seen him in a while. Hope he's all right. So I ordered jumbo shrimp. I hope I can finish them both. Yeah. Dolphins have polycules. Yeah, they do. Cool channel name says I only eat eagles. Meme Copium says when my face when only me and the Norwegians know the taste of whale. Chat, he eats his whales. If you donate to Meme and you support him, he's gonna kill you and eat you. Oh. Don't do it, chat. Don't do it. But yes, they are saucy nugs, and it's just like the guy did when he went to his local city council and doing it. But yes, the saucy nugs guy, which is always funny. I mean, you guys haven't seen it before. Why is this not loading up? But it's a guy at city council meeting demanding that saucy nugs get addressed. And this is pretty important stuff. Pretty important stuff here, chat.
Okay.
I promise I won't take up too much of your time here. My name is Andrew Christensen. I live at 1212 Twin Ridge Road. Lincoln has the opportunity to be a social leader in this country. We have been casually ignoring.
This is Lincoln, Nebraska at city council meetings.
Ignoring a problem that has gotten so out of control that our children are throwing around names and words without even understanding their true meaning and treating things as though they're normal. I go into nice family restaurants and I see people throwing this name around and pretending as though everything is just fine. I'm talking about boneless chicken wings. I propose that we as a city remove the... Excuse me, I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Sure.
Come on. I propose that we as a city remove the name Boneless Wings from our menus and from our hearts. These are our reasons why. Number one, nothing about boneless chicken wings actually come from the wing of a chicken. We would be disgusted if a butcher was mislabeling their cuts of meats.
Actually, this is not an Alex Stein ripoff. This is from years ago, actually. This is multiple years ago. This is in the middle of COVID. So this wasn't an Alex Stein ripoff.
But then we go around and pretending as though the breast of the chicken is its wing. Number two, boneless chicken wings are just chicken tenders, which are already boneless. I don't go to order boneless tacos. I don't go and order boneless club sandwiches. I don't ask for boneless auto repair. It's just what's expected. And then number three, we need to raise our children better. Our children are raised being afraid of having bones attached to their meat. That's where meat comes from. It grows on bones. We need to teach them that the wing of a chicken is from a chicken and it's delicious. I propose that we rename boneless wings in the city of Lincoln. We can call them buffalo-style chicken tenders. We can call them wet tenders. We can call them saucy nugs or trash. We can take these steps and show the country that where we stand and that we understand that we've been living a lie for far too long. And we know it because we feel it in our bones.
Thank you, Andrew. Okay, hold it down, please.
So yes, that was a real thing there. Yes. Bob 2 for $2 Australian dues says, at least we know where Nick stole his drip from. Yeah. Patrick says, black woman at church, like, mm-hmm. Meme Copiums says, I for one enjoy bones in my taco. Ew. Shouldn't that be your girlfriend enjoys bones in her taco? Not you? Unless you got the did you get a bottom surgery meme? Oh, I paused at the punchline.
I would like to just comment here. For the record, that's my son.
Oh, I forgot about that part.
That's why you were laughing.
So that's the guy's son there. There you go. Oh. So that is some stuff to consider, chat. That he's proud, like I took his joke. Well. It's like suffer, chat. He's proud, yes. Of course, it's like, and the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man in the moon. He grew up to be a man like me, son. He's all our son now, yes. It's a proud papa moment. I know. That's how I feel when I'm on here and my dad's watching me acting like a retard sometimes. And it's just, he's sitting there. It's like, someday he'll grow up to be just like me. So wholesome. It is. It's wholesome. And it was political. A father-son team engaging in politics. They're starting a political dynasty. All about chicken. Perfect. Hi, Sean's mom. Actually, my mom's probably asleep by now, but she always watches the beginnings. And there's times where I'm late. She's like, You're late. I don't think she was on tonight because she didn't message me at 9:30 saying I was late. So. Are Vance and Trump Jr. on the next ticket? I don't know. It'll be Vance and somebody. That'll be different there. But anyways, what is somebody saying Jim Croce? That wasn't a Jim Croce song. That was Sing Along was not on my radar. No, that's not the guy who's saying Cats Cat's in Cradle. That's not at all him. So that's saying like Big Bad Leroy Brown and all kinds of other stuff. I'm not base. No, my parents are though. Yeah, Terry Chapin. That's what I thought. Or Cat's. Or the Cat Stevens. I don't know who the fuck it was, but whatever. So, yeah. All right, guys. Moving on from there. There is we have some real quick stuff we're going to get into here. We talked about this last night. The Antifa trial down in Texas. Remember, it's basically the terrorist cell of 12 of them who attacked the ICE detention center last year on the 4th of July. This collection of goobers and losers. One of their friends got fucking shot in the face and killed, by the way. Based! They attacked the ICE facility with fireworks, and when the security guards and police came out to investigate, they started shooting from the tree line. One of their buddies advanced up and was like, I'm a revolutionary! And he got he got just dropped. He got dropped from there. And yeah, Cat Stevens did Wild World. That's what I thought too. Yeah. Yeah, Cat is Yusuf Islam now. Yes. Yes, he converted to Islam. So Aaron would be sad. I don't know what Aaron would be sad about. Oh, these commies getting drilled. But yes, these commies got fucking wiped out. They're facing charges of attempted murder. This is a big Antifa terrorism case. This is like the big one. And we talked about this yesterday because something interesting happened. A mistrial got declared because the one attorney for the defendants wore a shirt with like Martin Luther King and Shirley Chisholm and other civil rights leaders on it as part of her dress. And the judge declared a mistrial because she was wearing political crap at trial. And they were starting voir dire. Now, her name is Marquita. Oh, God, what is this woman's name? It's Marquetta Clayton. So, yes, this is your attorney, Miss Marquetta. So, the judge declared a mistrial and sent everybody home, and they're restarting the trial on Monday, restarting jury selection. Now, are they getting a retrial? Yes, because they had just started voir dire when their attorney acted a fool and tried to screw around and influence the jury. And you could see on here, she turned her shirt inside out and wore it home, but she clearly was trying to fuck with the jury and making them think things were going on there. Yes, that was what I saw this. I said last night, it's like, oh my God, don't let Branca find out about this. If Branca sees this black woman attorney, he's going to have a stroke. He's going to have a stroke, chat. Now, are there sanctions for this? Not yet. There should be, but as of right now, it hasn't happened. So what happened? Well, the court filed new orders, and we went through all these orders here, but the trial starts on the 23rd. It starts on Monday. You're like, okay, cool. Well, the court also filed another order, and this is the scheduling order for everything. And the judge, and you can tell the judge is like, okay, well, no, I'm punishing you. I'm punishing the defendants because of your conduct. And these people in their cases getting a thing here. Suller says, how do they not catch it? I don't know, but it didn't matter. You're not allowed to fuck around. So the defense orchestrated a mistrial. So the trial is set for February 23rd at 9 a.m. You're like, okay, that part's pretty standard. And then the rest of this, people are losing their minds over, but it's pretty normal as well. They're losing their minds over, but it's a pretty normal thing as well. And it says, due to other pressing matters on the court's docket, The court exercises its right to limit the time for arguments, examining witnesses, and the number of witnesses to be called in order to prevent unnecessary expense or delay. So what happened here? The court said, I'm compressing the timeline for everything. I'm putting limits on everybody. But when you think about it, all the jury selection time right now has been pissed away. And starting the trial on Thursday or Friday, it's gone. So voir dire will be conducted by the judge. And in federal court, that's actually normal. The court may examine prospective jurors or may permit the attorneys to do so. In federal court, courts a lot of times will do the jury selection questions, and you could submit questions to the court and they get to decide whether or not they answer them. But the court has discretion in conducting how to do voir dire and whether to excuse a juror. There's no constitutional right to attorney to lead voir dire, and that's true. So that's going to happen. The party's time for trial will be limited as follows: 30 minutes for the United States, 8 minutes for each defendant. The trial time, a total of 35 hours for the U.S. and 35 hours total for all defendants. Whoa, man, this judge is fucking pissed off. Closing arguments, 45 minutes for the U.S., 12 minutes for each defendant. Each exhibit must be labeled prior to trial by a gummed label, meaning a sticky label, containing the identity of the offering party, the exhibit number, and the cause number. Given the court's resources, the parties may view the layout of the courtroom and test equipment only on February 20th from 1 to 2 p.m. If you need any electronic equipment, you have to notify the court manager about it. And it says any attorney that has not made an appearance but anticipates sitting at counsel table shall file the notice on or before the 19th at 12 p.m. Attorneys who have not made an appearance will not be allowed at the counsel table. This judge is, he's felting them hard. He's felting them hard. This is what happens when you fuck around. This is what happens when you fuck around. Seller says this screws with the state's case too. Not really. They pretty much have what they have. And it says, having considered the relevant law, the government asked for additional preparatory challenges. The court finds that it's hereby granted in part and denied in part. Additionally, the government shall have 9 preparatory strikes. Each defendant shall have 2. The court anticipates impaneling a jury of 14. Woo! Wow! Yes, I missed this. Was the defense being felted? Oh, yeah. This is the defense team getting it broke off in their ass. Wow. Now, here's the problem. And you might say, guys, wait. Why are the defendants suffering because of their attorneys? Are they responsible for it? Well, yeah. And if you don't like this, you can, there would be grounds for attorney ineffective assistance of counsel or incompetence here. But presumably these guys wanted their attorneys to do all this nonsense. So, it's not, I'm sure that they're like, wait, the judge is pissed off at us now. But that's the problem when you hire attorneys who are activists. They're going to be activists. I've said this before and I've said it again. One of the biggest mistakes you can do as yourself, as a person, is hiring an attorney who's just like you. You don't want somebody who, is just like you in personality and thought process. You want someone who's different. You want to clash. Because when you guys don't agree, you'll see things differently. If you don't see things, if you see things differently, as an attorney and client, you guys can work together collaboratively. Like, that's the goal. We don't see things the same way. We see things differently. That allows us to work on problems and address issues. But when you and your attorney are like eye to eye, you miss all the gaps. When you guys don't see eye to eye, you can see in each other's gaps. There's a benefit to it. So that's why you don't find an attorney who's like you. That's actually very detrimental. But these guys, I don't feel bad for them. They fucked themselves over. Yeah, no brakes on the retard train when the lawyer's just like you. Yep. Yeah. There's no controlling it. I'm sure that these commies are having a joke and a smoke about it, but their trial just got restricted in time because now a day next week is being eaten up by voir dire. You know, that's not helpful. That's not helpful. The defendants probably had no idea she was going to do this. Well, maybe not. If they didn't, they should voice up and say, I don't want her as an attorney. But I'm sure they're like, yeah, right on, sister. Power to the people. I'm sure that they're all about this. What kind of Fed uses blue ink? Well, I mean, now you know it's the original document that's been scanned, not a copy. So. Cass says negative clap, Andy. Yes, GG to the judge. Judge is like, pack it up. But yes, that is a, make a mockery in my court, will you? Yes. That said, though, that woman should still be sanctioned. She should be disciplined, but we'll see at any points later. Matthew Felty says, any pics of the poster board? No. Those pics were probably, poster boards could have been demonstratives, maybe like listing elements or listing different things out. Who knows? Those weren't necessarily a problem. Is what was on her shirt was the problem. Is she a National Lawyers Guild lawyer? I don't know. She could certainly be part of it. That's why I'll only hire Barnes. Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah. Yes, and yeah, I'm glad something was done here. I hope the defense acts up again. Yeah, and some of you guys are wondering, and somebody actually asked me this as a question, and I think it's a fair question if you don't really know the answer. Can the defense cause a mistrial with prejudice? No. If the defense causes a mistrial, it's almost always going to be without prejudice. I'd be very hard-pressed to find a time where the defense can cause a mistrial, and it to be with prejudice, barring further retrying of it. You don't generally get the benefit of that. So typically, no, you can't do that. So her doing this does nothing but hurt her clients. But that's a problem. She's worried about being performative instead of defending her fucking clients. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully these commies get life in prison. So that'll be good. Jordan Bemke says we should arrest all those hippies at the NLG. Or you could just drop a J-Dam on them. I mean, that works too. You know, J-Damming communist is always a good choice. Yes, and too bad it's in federal court. There are no cameras in the courtroom. So, but yes, that is the situation with those people. So, once again, yeah, that's a rough time when your attorney starts co-signing like that for you. It's never good. It's never ever good. So. The helos are for commies, yeah, but you know, we can't necessarily fit all of them in there at the same time. So a JDAM is also acceptable. Only meta glasses, you would not be allowed to bring those in a courthouse. They know what those are. I would never try that. Don't ever try that. Don't do that, please. It's never a good idea. Now moving on from there, guys, there is if you guys have ever remembered the website Girls Do Porn, that was a porn website back in the day. The founder of that website had actually got sentenced to decades in prison, basically for sex trafficking women and extorting them and doing horrible things to them and tricking them into things. And, you know, this all started back in 2011. It became a pretty big porn site. And yeah, it's not gooning time, guys. It's not gooning time. So basically, they'd book women to come out and they pay for them to fly out for video shoots. And they, you know, basically said we were doing stuff and sent them out to go pick up women. And as this website, you guys have no idea what you're saying. Yeah, okay, totally. The archive of it still exists. Yeah, possibly. And they claim that they were filming stuff for a private collector, a private viewer overseas, and that this would not be shared anywhere. But immediately they went ahead and like, bam, right on the internet. So, these women would not do that. They provided assurances that nothing would happen here, and basically kind of extorted and ripped these women off. But a bunch of people involved have been, facing all kinds of time. The leader of it all is a guy named Michael Pratt. He got 27 years in prison last year. A bunch of people involved in it have gotten everything from like 20 years all the way down to 4 years. So basically, it's a sex trafficking conspiracy. And think about that, having women fly across state lines for the purposes of having sex. Yeah, it could be, that adds up. You get the Mann Act. So what happened to them? Well, they made all kinds of money off of this. They made all kinds of money off this stuff. And there is now a restitution order that came out this past week. And you're like, wait, what? Well, these women are entitled to restitution. And it's a case of United States of America versus Michael Pratt. Wait till you see what he has to do. He owes restitution to these victims of sex trafficking for quite a bit of money, chat. For quite a bit of money. He owes them quite a bit. $75,568,283.47. Because of conspiracy to commit sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion. And also committing sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion without the conspiracy attachment. Yeah, 47 cents is pretty specific. Yes. So what does he have to do? He has to pay $16.9 million of restitution to the victims identified in an attachment on a pro rata basis for the gross income generated from the scheme. And that attachment shall be sealed, so we don't get to know. The remaining $58.6 million shall be for specified amounts to all the victims for a loss shall receive the restitution owed. However, victims shall be paid their full restitution before provider compensation. Therefore, all victims identified below shall receive the restitution in full before the providers of compensation receive restitution. So the people who are providing compensation can get restitution as well. So here's what some of these women are getting. Some of these women are getting for I'm not gonna lie, some of these, it's like, I don't understand how you didn't know, but hey, whatever, you can trick people into doing shit all the time. So some people like $400,000, $562,000, $370,000. You're like, okay, bam, bam, bam. Serious amounts. $800,000. One victim's getting $1.3 million. $169,000. Somebody's getting $31,000. Another one's getting $950,000. Like, these people are getting a lot of money. Yes, the hoe tax. Did the girls that did anal get more? Maybe. Yeah. And I agree. Like, these women are getting blackmailed, but it's like, if they didn't know what they were doing, it's like, come on, honey. I didn't know what I was going on. It's like, did you really? If that's true, like I bet all these victims will go out and buy timeshares because they're the type of people who would do that. More and more, some of these victims, $26,000. And it just goes on and on and on. Like, these victims are getting a lot. This one victim, though, $440. It's like, oh no, that's rough. Harble Warble says number 14 came back for 3 shoots. Okay. Vic 14 knew. Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know how somebody didn't know. But yeah, look at this though. One person getting $400. It's like, oof. You must not have done a good job. You must not have done a good job. Debbie says you skipped over the $6 million one. Yeah, one of them, yes. One of them got, where was that? Yeah, I did see that earlier when I was reading through it. Yeah. $6.6 million. Like, how many times were you on? Like, were you an all-star? It's like they kept bringing her back. It's like, it's a lot. As this continues on, though, another person got $600. It's like, wow, that's got to be embarrassing if you figure out who you are for some of these people. Like, I want to know what they did to only get that much. You know, other people getting 13,000, you know, a couple $1 million, like right on the nose. $1 million. Ooh, like an actual $1 million there. Yeah, how many dollars per inch? Yeah, I don't know. 82 used too much teeth, sure. 27 carried the team, yeah. They were the anchor for the team. They were the backbone of it. They were the anchor in the relays. But as you get through here, like I said, a lot of these women got a lot of money, but some of them didn't. The restitution is joint and several with all other co-defendants and co-conspirators, meaning everybody else who got convicted in this scheme has to pay as well. Has to pay as well. And they're ordered to all pay. So one of them has to pay. They all have to pay. So these are all the co-defendants. All these people have to pony up for it. And they're all... And the way it works is, let's say it's Valerie Moser chick. She could pay it all, and then she has to turn around and go sue them for the money. The court doesn't give a shit about the defendants. It's just, you pay. We don't care who pays. And they're saying the defendant has the ability to pay restitution as set forth in the appalling payment schedule. And it says during any period of incarceration, he pays restitution through the Inmate Financial Responsibility Program at the rate of 50% of his income or $25 per quarter, which is ever greater. Upon release, he shall pay restitution at the rate of $200 per month, minimum, subject to modification or further agreement. This doesn't foreclose the U.S. from exercising all legal remedies and processes available to collect the judgment, which means they can go after property and assets to sell it. But yes, he has to, you say, by Baker cashier's check to the U.S. District Court clerk, and that's how you make restitution. From there, it pays out. It says, until restitution is paid, you have to notify the clerk and the U.S. Attorney's Office of any change in your economic circumstances. So basically, for the rest of his life, he's going to have to tell them what he owes and how he does this. That might affect his ability to pay restitution no later than 30 days after the change, meaning if he gets jobs or he finds things. And then finally, he has no right to publish or otherwise exploit the girls do porn or girls do toys, images, likeness, or videos. All purported agreements and releases are void and unenforceable. All transfers, licenses, and leases are all void to any third parties. Each model listed in Attachment A holds a superior right, title, and interest in the image, likeness, and video depicting that model. So these girls basically retain all the rights to their videos. And then it says each model listed in Attachment A shall have and recover all property that was taken from them, including images, likenesses, videos, and copyrights. Yes, it's $200 a month until the heat death of the universe. Yeah, and that's the thing. The internet's forever, so they're going to be around forever, and everybody's going to know what you did. And, you know, eventually your kids are going to be like, your kids are going to come home from school saying, Mom, the kids at school said you did this, this, and this. Is that true? And they're going to have to go, yep. So they aren't getting their dignity back. No, they don't. No, they don't. No, they won't. So Cass says, boo, free the videos. I think they're out there, man. The internet's, you know, like I said, the internet's forever. It's just interesting. $76 million in restitution. $76 million. So, yeah. Grandma, why were you only worth $400? So do they have the rent to lease everything until they die? Dobbage, pretty much they're basically going to be, you know, impoverished until they die. So, Seller says, why don't they have to show how they got those numbers? I'm sure those numbers were discussed and agreed upon by the attorneys, They probably came up with a basic formula that calculated it out to like how many times they were on video, what type of video was done, how long the video was done, the defendant's actions after the video, all kinds of things. Bob 2 says that's 140 million can use. That's a lot. And yeah, like, did they have any dignity in the first place? I don't know. I'm not sure. Like I said, I find a little sus, but hey, we didn't know. It's like, did you not really? It's like, I sometimes find that hard to believe. I sometimes find that hard to believe. So. Oh. Now. All right, guys, we are on to the last story tonight. Why am I gay? Because your mom wasn't that good at sex. That's how bad your mom was. Joe Schmo says, I want to see the spreadsheet for research purposes. Yeah. Oh, oh, that's so funny. You guys are funny, chat. You guys are so funny. Well, hold on here. Why did this not work? There we go. So, Stacy says it's always the band's fault. Well, yes, it is. Matthew says, seems you missed. I didn't know about this. The Fed judge admonished Zuckerberg crew yesterday for Meta glasses. I had no idea that happened. I knew there was a trial, but I didn't know anything had happened in that. That's something we could probably cover. Because I want to see if there was any of the testimony was covered because it was in state court. But yeah, I'd like to take a look at that. But yeah, I had no idea it happened. Thank you for informing me. That'll be something I can look into here. Because I am curious to see how that happened, and I can't believe those guys actually wore their Meta glasses into court. I'm surprised they were even allowed to get them into court, honestly. But thank you for the heads up on that. Thank you very much. Let's see. The damages are likely reputational and future earnings, which is why I bet the low payouts are still in the business. I could possibly see that. I could see that. Matthew says, "Oh, state court." I thought it was federal. I thought it was federal, but I don't know. I mean, I thought it was state court. We'll see. Yeah, we got to start over, chat. Oh no. Did I see the NTSB report on the DCA crash? No. I did not. I'm assuming it's pilot error from the helicopter. So, yeah. Okay, so it's in state court. Yeah, I'm going to try to see if there's anything there. I will take a look at it. Thank you, Afton. Guys, we are on to the last thing tonight, and this is Cain Velasquez. You guys remember Cain Velasquez, former UFC heavyweight champion. His child, if you guys remember, we talked about this. His child is the victim in an alleged child molestation case against a daycare worker. And as Cain Velasquez learned about this, he found out the guy was going to court, chased the guy down, and tried to run them off the road. And then as he ran them off the road, he pulled up to them and started shooting at the car. Sadly, he didn't hit the guy who's accused of being a pedo, but he hit the guy's stepdad who was driving the car. So once again, it's kind of one of those deals where we talked about this. You know, courts frown up and the government frowns upon vigilante justice, but it really frowns upon it when you don't hit the right guy. Like, it's really, really, really bad. Now, if you guys remember, he was sentenced to 5 years in prison for attempted murder, and that was last year. He got sentenced. And yeah, there's some updates to this now. There are some updates. And one of the biggest updates here, guys, is he is now released from prison. He has been released. He got released on Sunday. And yeah, he's been released from prison. He was sentenced to 5 years. And here's the thing that helped him a lot. He got 3 years of time served while awaiting sentencing. Remember, Cain Velasquez spent almost a year in jail trying to get released. He burned up a lot of time waiting. He burned up a lot of time waiting. And then he also he got back out on bond. And then he also got credit for credit earning opportunities while he was incarcerated. So therefore, his full sentence has been released. He's terminated. He no longer has to serve. And from there, he is now in he's home. He's home. And they talk about the guy he chased, Harry Gallardi, was accused of molesting his son. And he chased them down and he accidentally shot the guy's stepdad. Now, the guy's still facing charges and his case is still pending. He has not been convicted or pled out. Maddie says Cain is based. Well, if the guy's found not guilty, who is based? So his case is still pending, and there is a trial setting hearing scheduled for April 15th. So, yeah, it was a really bad situation there. That was a really bad situation. And he did get released, and there is the, people were there filming for him when he got released from jail. And, and playing. Oh.
¿No hace ruido? ¿No está grabando? ¿Sí?
It's close enough. Plastic says your dinner music tonight. So anyway, you guys are just, getting all indignant here. It's like, did he get the right guy? Was it somebody else who did it? I mean, that's the risk. Are you sure it's him? How sure are you? That is the one problem with vigilante justice, is if your neighbor's convinced you did something, oh, he's convinced beyond a reasonable doubt you did it. He's convinced beyond all doubt, but you didn't do it. I mean, that's the only thing you have to be careful about. There are some really bad fucking outcomes that can happen. Vigilante justice and mob justice sounds great till you realize there could be a mob of fucking retards at your door saying you did something. And then now you've got to deal with a mob of violent retards. So, do I think this guy probably did it? Yeah, probably. But are you sure beyond a reasonable doubt? Because if it turns out he didn't do it, you're like, ugh. And you go sorry, tried to kill you in the whole thing. Sorry, bro. Just, you got to be careful. Got to be careful. Not the first guy to get it wrong. Yeah, imagine a bunch of Will Stancils at your door. Imagine a bunch of Will Stancils. This is what happens when Wonder Bread makes the tamales chat. Say, good tamales there, yeah. You had boneless carne asada tacos, yes. It's just awful polka. But no, on the really like true hand, he's out. He's back with his family. That's what matters most. I'm sure he realized, like, fuck, if I hadn't have done like doing this, my kid, I've been away from my kid for almost 3.5, almost 4 years now. That didn't help the kid at all. So yeah. So Will Stancil stood up to Antifa. Well, he didn't stand up to him. They kicked his ass. So. But he's back. He's home. Good for him. You know, the family's reunited, so that's good. And, yeah, if the guy did it, I hope he gets convicted and spends the rest of his life in fucking prison. But if he didn't do it, I hope that doesn't happen to him. So, pretty simple. Pretty simple, now that you think. If you want to know the truth about it. All right, chat. So, we are all done for the night. I think we, yeah, no, we got everything. We got everything here. Did I get Yep, got all the things taken care of. Oh, wow. Well, apparently he got a brand new truck out of this. They gifted him a new truck after being in jail for shooting a child molester. I mean, that sounds good, but it's like, you know, if it turns out the guy gets like not only just found not guilty, but if it's demonstrated he didn't do it, he could probably sue these people for defamation. So it's kind of an interesting thought pattern there. But anyways, that is it for us tonight, chat. We are all done. Big Dilly says, Fatso, your stream is lagging. What band am I getting on release? Well, if I get sent to prison, 2.0 will have done her job as a Fed, so she's probably not going to be there when I get out. I don't know. All right. But anyways, with that said, guys, we are all done. We are heading over to Locals, potentiallycriminal.locals.com. Join us over there, guys. If you guys want to join us, it's a fun time. Locals is free to sign up for. And then if you want to support me over there, you can support me for $3 a month. You pay for 10 months. You get 2 months free. What do you get with those $3 a month? You get access to the live shows. 2 live shows a week. We do a Monday night show starting at about 9 o'clock. That's why we generally don't do things on Mondays all the time, because we're over there on Locals. And then right after this show, chat, we go and hang out. It's time to have fun over there. And we get her done over there on Locals. We get to hang out, have fun. All the stuff we can't talk about over there. It's truly a fun time. And guys, remember, if you the live shows are for the paying members only. But if you're not sure, use the promo code IceStorm. And do it, and it will give you 1 month free access, and I think you'll like it after that point. So I hope you guys do it. Oh my gosh, I'm like kidding. Oh no, and all the fucking stream is lagging, people. Apparently the stream is just bogging down over on Kick. Oh no, chat. It's like stream is lagging. My channel's under attack, chat. So, with that said, I will see you guys tomorrow. We are going to be covering the saga of Patrick Tomlinson and his case against the Milwaukee Police Department, where, you know, on one hand, Patrick Tomlinson's a complete fucking tool, but on the other hand, it does seem like the police did violate his civil rights. So we are going to get to that, and Commando Kodiak says, is there going to be a link to Locals? There is a link right down here. And a link right down there. So, suffer kick. Yes, suffer. Suffer with your gambling. Anyways, chat, I will see you guys tomorrow. And remember, until next time, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Including you, chat. Yes, you. Good night, guys, and I'll see you over on Locals. You're getting a woo. That was accidental, but you get a free woo tonight, chat. A free woo tonight. That one's on the house.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. talk to cops. Even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. But please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy that Kane yelled at? Why, yes it was.